It's been 24 hours since the first night of WrestleMania 37, and I'm amazed that the construction crew did not fix the messed up flag that got ruined by the thunderstorm the previous day. Because the wrestlers were not going to appear on the stage this time around, WWE showed a recap of the previous night where they were on the stage, just to pretend that they're actually there this time around. About 5 to 6 minutes of the same intro for WrestleMania 37 that we witnessed the previous night. Man, this really is similar to the WrestleMania 36 sins.
Snickers presents.
Here's the hoping Michael Cole doesn't talk about Snickers being the sponsor for WrestleMania literally 5 times in one match this night. I'm actually curious, why weren't Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil dressed up in these pirate outfits the previous night as well? It fits the theme of the event perfectly. Actually, you can. What do you bet Randy Orton is thankful that it's not raining during tonight's edition of WrestleMania, knowing it would wash all the body oil off of him?
Perhaps his most freakish rivalry of his entire career.
I wouldn't go that far, honestly. Michael Cole believes Randy Orton's feud with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss is the freakiest rivalry of his entire career, completely forgetting about his 2005 feud with The Undertaker.
We cannot explain. I don't think anybody...
Okay, we get it. Mandy Rose slipped and fell on her ass last night. It's not as funny when everybody's pretending that they're slipping.
WWE today.
What is Randy Orton doing? He's acting like he just stepped in dog crap and is trying to get it off his boots. No joke, it literally takes Randy Orton a full minute from the moment he steps into the ring to the moment he poses on the ropes. He's starting to be like The Undertaker when it comes to long entrances without the intensity. After about 5 minutes of Randy Orton performing his entrance, now we gotta spend the next 5 minutes looking at the video package for this match, followed by 5 more minutes of Alexa Bliss and The Fiend entering. In other words, that's literally 15 minutes of build-up to a match that's only 6 minutes long. I feel like we're watching a Goldberg feud. Also, after competing in Inferno matches, intergender matches, vomiting black liquid, setting things on fire, threatening to commit murder in so many vile and cruel ways, this feud culminates with a 6-minute traditional wrestling match with no added stipulation.
The legend killer dies.
Don't make promises you can't keep. I gotta remove 3 sins for this badass entrance of The Fiend. It really captured the horror. Just a big shame the match couldn't fall asleep. Aw, come on! I really wanted to see The Fiend compete in that charred, burned-away form. Really feels like a ripoff when it just reforms back into its original look after the months of The Fiend's revival and the look of rising from the ashes.
What the hell is that?
The box that contains the secrets to Christian Miracle's plan to overthrow Hulu because he doesn't give a shit about it. What the freaking hell do you think it is? That is fucking epic. And so powerful that my entire background has been affected by The Fiend's presence. Hell of a way to start it off, but I'll still put in the pre-match assaults in because The Fiend leaped onto Randy Orton prior to the bell ringing. The Fiend indeed never forgets, and just like the rest of us, The Fiend will never forget the late Luke Harper. Attempted Viper right infringement. Well, the announce table didn't shatter on this occasion, so I'm not surprised that The Fiend wasn't affected by the impact. Alexa Bliss made herself bleed the black liquid from her head because she knows it makes The Fiend horny. Also, it's later revealed that Alexa did all this so she could put down The Fiend herself and gain all of its powers for her own needs. Makes you wonder why she spent the last few months trying to resurrect The Fiend when she could have simply inherited its powers when it was dead. It's a freaky storyline, but it has a lot of plot holes for sure. You know, we're at WrestleMania. Could we at least have seen Alexa Bliss do something cool to The Fiend before they actually disappear, instead of simply a stare down and then vanishing? Also, The Fiend looked up at Alexa Bliss bleeding from the head and thought, I am so horny right now. Let's honestly be thankful we're not watching what's going on inside the Jack-in-the-Box. More of this Bayley trying to do something relevant at WrestleMania phase that ends up being a complete waste of time. Interesting thing to point out, what we're witnessing right here is literally a repeat from NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. First night, there's a match where the winner faces the champion on the second night. And on the second night, the challengers lose to the champions, only to win those same titles an extra month later. Natalia and Tamina, as well as Bronson Reed, have quite a lot in common now.
Is presented by Snickers.
Skittles, skip like Bad Bunny, fuck!
Yes, Corey, if you're the challenge.
Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have been teaming for over half a year by this point. I'm amazed they somehow don't have some sort of custom theme or mashup theme by now.
In the opening moments, great deal of respect.
Shayna Baszler hits a shoulder tackle on Natalia within 1 minute into the match and believes now's the time to start stalling, forgetting that literally everyone in the match is still very fresh.
If not the most dominant woman in the history.
Just because Nia has the size? Sorry, but there have been many more female wrestlers more dominant than Nia Jax. Shouldn't base everything just on the size. What the hell were the audio technicians censoring? Nia Jax clearly did not curse at Tamina, nor did Tamina say anything. Hell, even the fans are chanting Tamina, not something controversial or full of F-bombs. Also, nearly a full minute of a headbutt contest between Nia Jax and Tamina.
Tamina tags in Natalya. Smart move.
Natalya tags herself in, is watching Nia Jax on full alert, and somehow couldn't duck a punch that was slowly connected. And we're not doing so good, are we?
The slingshot Baszler right into us.
Not gonna lie, that was a kick-ass double team move. Natalya slingshot Shayna Baszler right into Tamina's superkick. Match may not have been great, but at least there's one cool moment.
Natalya's knee, her ankle.
Man, Shayna Baszler is absolutely brutal, isn't she? I cringed in pain from the way she's contorted Natalya's foot. Really hope she goes back into singles action soon because she could very well be a dominant women's champion just like in NXT.
Muffler submission.
I miss seeing fans in attendance, but what I still do not miss are the annoying CM Punk chants. Bored a match or not, it's still irritating. Just as much as the what chants.
Night. And Tamina back in time.
Actually, Tamina was late on her cue. Because she was running late, Natalya had to get her shoulder up, otherwise the match would have ended right then and there.
With an opportunity to make a tag.
What the hell was that? I thought for a second that Tamina was going to suddenly turn on Natalya the way she moved her arm out of the way just as Natalya was about to tag her in. And this is why Nia Jax should never attempt to leap off the ropes onto her opponents. Natalya and Tamina awkwardly standing around just waiting for her to jump, while Nia watches on with a confused look on her face before realizing she has to jump. Double sin. About 2 more minutes and Nia Jax walking around Tamina and taunting her, which allows Tamina to recover. Boy, this match sucks. Sorry, but declaring yourself as King Kong won't exactly help yourself out, because when King Kong is not getting shot off the Empire State Building to his death, he's getting his ass handed to him by Godzilla.
Shut out Tamina!
Much as I want to like that moment where Tamina body slams Nia Jax, the slam itself completely failed because there wasn't enough cooperation between the two women.
Remember, Baszler's legal!
The ending to this match is a lot funnier than you think. Amazing for how Shayna knocked out Natalya within seconds, but funny because the sharpshooter is still locked into Nia Jax, so she's also in pain. Shayna continued to be a dick to her own partner.
WWE fans and the WWE Universe.
But aren't WWE fans and the WWE Universe the same thing? Ladies and gentlemen, this match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, a rivalry that has been epic throughout 2015 and 2016, only exists tonight because we want to get another celebrity involved, rather than focus on the chemistry between these two former friends.
Owens at WrestleMania.
It's a shame that tonight wasn't the night where it was pouring rain, because if Sami Zayn slipped and fell, how funny would it be if he started blaming Mother Nature for the conspiracies against him?
Logan Paul!
Kevin Owens makes his way to the ring, but then suddenly believes that he left the fridge open before entering the stage, and then realized he closed it an hour ago.
To perpetuate this conspiracy.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Sami Zayn isn't throwing a fit at Logan Paul about conspiracies because he's clapping for Kevin Owens instead of him.
Jess Carr taking control of this matchup.
As much as it would piss off the fanbase, a sudden quick victory by Kevin Owens on Sami Zayn would have been the perfect way to continue Sami's tirade of conspiracy theories, called sticking to the gimmicks, and that would have fit. Yes, it would piss us off because we didn't get an actual match between these two, but storylines matter. Kevin Owens sees the ring apron and immediately got flashbacks to his debut night at NXT TakeOver R Evolution. Oh, the memories, but it obviously wouldn't work because Sami's no stranger to the situation.
Suplex and oh my god! Stop the match!
Stop the match because of a suplex on the ring apron? Something we have seen happen hundreds of times over the years? It wasn't even that brutal, Corey. Even Charmin Ultrasoft is getting jealous at how soft you are.
Kevin Owens ain't getting up from that!
Despite calling nearly every Kevin Owens match since his debut, Corey Graves somehow has never seen Kevin Owens wrestle a match.
He lost to Big E later on. Oh my god! Blue Thunder Bomb!
First of all, that was not even a Blue Thunder Bomb. That's not how Sami Zayn hits the move. What happened to Michael Cole? And secondly, instead of immediately going for the pinfall, Sami yelled at the referee to get in position to count the pin, something she was already set to do. Did he ever think to blame his own stupidity for the conspiracy?
Logan's probably going to want to be his best friend. Might even invite him to be his new brother.
The annoying ass-kissing commentary of Corey Graves. At least in his early days on commentary, he was actually entertaining. What has honestly happened to everyone? Can they just have their 2016 personas again, please?
You can hear that echo through the...
You can't be serious, right? Kevin didn't even whack Sami that hard with that clothesline. We barely heard it on the live cam. I highly doubt that could be heard all over the massive stadium. Sami Zayn tells Kevin Owens that whatever happens is because of Kevin, and then he ends up losing the match. Well, at least he was correct on that exchange, but his monologuing ruined everything. Sami Zayn pokes at Logan Paul and reminds him that Logan is his guest of honor. I swear, if he blames Logan striking back on the conspiracy, he may need a mental asylum. Logan Paul is complaining about taking a stunner from Kevin Owens, yet feels he's ready to compete in a boxing fight against fucking Floyd Mayweather. Let that sink in, folks. Wait a minute, the Great Khali is actually here? Back at the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony, Khali performed his speech via satellite because he could not make it to Tampa Bay. But all of a sudden, he's actually here in Tampa Bay? If he could make it to WrestleMania, why wasn't he at his Hall of Fame induction?
You should open up a giant store.
Giant store, giant clothes, giant scooters. Just like I'm gonna give this moment a giant skip, right, bro?
RVD rolling papers.
Man, who would have thought that hitting Riddle with his own scooter would be enough to get a United States Championship match at WrestleMania? I know I've said this before, but competing in WWE just seems so easy.
Here's what's impressive.
These creepy CGI birds. I get that Riddle has a fun entrance and it's cool whenever he kicks the flip-flops off his feet, but the CGI birds are really unnecessary. Like, what do they add to the table?
We know the physical nature. We know the physical nature of Sheamus.
Byron Saxon told the other commentators that they know the physical nature of Sheamus already, but chose to remind them a second time just in case they didn't know.
King of the Ring, a Money in the Bank.
Commentator constantly states the amount of accomplishments of a wrestler during their match cliche. Although with Sheamus, I think they're sadly going through the list because he's won almost everything there is to win with the exception of the Intercontinental title, and hardly anyone bats an eyelash at it.
He doesn't feel like he's been recognized enough.
So in order to make fans understand that he's the real deal, Sheamus chooses to go after the United States Championship, a title he's won twice, instead of something like the Intercontinental title or the WWE Championship.
And the 10 beats of the battering.
I seriously don't get why Sheamus still calls it that, considering he doesn't end up finishing the 10 with the beats. Since Sheamus had to go back down and Riddle had to try the bro hammer again, now's the perfect time to place the haha you failed sign. Riddle clearly kicked Sheamus in the shoulder, who showed absolutely no reaction to it. I guess wrestling barefoot has its weaknesses. I won't lie, the brogue knee looks far more deadly than the brogue kick, since the knee gives a more powerful impact upon connection in comparison to the kick. Meanwhile, on this far side of the stadium, just like in part 1.
Right, Sheamus into the ring.
That German suplex on the ring apron could have removed another sin, but I saw Sheamus grab the ropes to slow the fall and not take much damage. Not to mention the awkward way he landed on his side due to his arm grabbing the rope. What the hell just happened? Is Sheamus afraid of heights and chickened out at the last second? White noise from the top rope could have been a killer moment to see.
Off the second rope.
Now that was a hardcore ending to the United States Championship match. Riddle was knocked the fuck out. Congratulations to Sheamus on a kick-ass ending. Absolutely sad that it took literally 4 opportunities and a bodyguard before Apollo Crews finally wins the Intercontinental Championship from Big E. After losing fair and square several times and getting rematch after rematch, this deserves another 5 sins. Like, when is enough enough? Let somebody else have a turn. Also, with all the respect in the world to Nigeria, putting a Nigerian drum fight as the stipulation for this match is where I snicker and say, are you for real right now? The stage graphics are already showing Wale's name well before Greg Hamilton ever introduces him to perform for Big E. Not gonna lie, I would have taken off 5 cents if Big E suddenly attacked Wale after getting shoved into. I think that would have been hilarious as fuck since Big E started shouting at him after getting bumped.
No holds barred.
Wait a minute, I thought this match was a Nigerian drum fight. Now Michael Cole is saying that it's actually a no-holds-barred match? I don't even know what's real anymore. Are you kidding me? This is literally a repeat of their Fastlane match, with Big E constantly asking Apollo Crews if this is what he wanted, only difference being they're holding kendo sticks at the same time. Now that the gong has made its noise, it will be long forgotten of for the remainder of this match. Oh well. A majority of this 6-minute match is either Big E asking Apollo if this is what he wanted, or either competitor grabbing a weapon and taking their time to set it up, ultimately leading it nowhere. This strategy likely didn't work because the camera was facing in Apollo and Big E's direction, and there were people in attendance who would catch the stares, obviously never connecting with Big E. For a match labeled a Nigerian drum fight, these two wrestlers use every weapon except for the actual drums. Not much of a drum fight now, is it?
No countouts, no disqualifications.
Shut up. Awkward when you realize that Commander Aziz is the 3rd gimmick this guy has had in the WWE since 2018. From Babatunde to Dabakato to now Commander Aziz. I'll secretly call him Hot Potato since that's what he seems to do with his ring names. Does every large wrestler have to do a choke slam? I guess the move is what the super kick is to the small wrestlers. Big wrestler. What are the odds that he's going to use it? Yep, he just did a choke slam. Victory due to outside interference is always a sin. Hot Potato grabs the Intercontinental Championship, likely declaring himself to be the champion and telling Apollo Crews that he's shit out of luck in this exchange.
You better start believing in ghost stories, because you're in one.
Out of all the Pirates in the Caribbean references you could have made, you went with that one? I personally would have gone with, why is the fun gone? But then again, that's reserved for Monday Night Raw. Also, that looks more like the Flying Dutchman ship from SpongeBob SquarePants, given the green ghostly image. I guess Paramount didn't agree to any references from SpongeBob for WWE programming. Also, nearly 20 minutes of commercials, recaps of the previous night at WrestleMania, and the Hall of Fame, and more hype. Takes nearly half an hour before we get to the next match. That's just lazy. Rhea Ripley had yet to compete as an official Raw wrestler and immediately got a Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania simply because everyone else was somehow unavailable. Yikes.
This is mine!
God damn it, audio technicians. That's not CM Punk cutting a shoot promo on Vince McMahon from 10 years ago. You can turn the microphone back on.
Rhea Ripley says, I'll be a different champion.
By that, Rhea Ripley means she'll actually have a memorable title reign. No disrespect to Asuka, but her reign as Raw Women's Champion has been pretty lackluster, wouldn't you agree? To the point where the Raw Women's title took a back seat while she went for the Women's Tag Team Championship with Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley will be great at CinemaSins 2 expansion. The match has started, and Asuka has already begun taunting her opponents that are going on the attack. For Rhea, she's probably thinking, this is going to be easier than I thought.
Rhea rolls through.
Did Rhea seriously begin to get down on her knees before taking Asuka's dropkick? What was her plan? Bowing down to the champion or something?
The brutality of the challenger.
Of course, Michael Cole always has to take something awesome from an upstart wrestler and turn it into something cringe. In this case, making puns about Rhea Ripley's brutality because it's part of her entrance theme.
There's a confidence that Ripley uses.
Well, we have officially entered the wrestler stares around and allows their opponents to recover portion of the match. I'm going to kick back for a while. Let me know if it picks up.
This is Rhea Ripley's plan.
Or, and this is just my suggestion, you could pick up Asuka yourself while she's still recovering from the onslaught you gave her.
This is Raymond James Stadium.
Wow, has the match really been that boring to the commentators to the point where they show yet another overhead shot of the stadium while it's in progress? I swear I saw this 3 times in the last 2 matches.
Asuka doesn't want to be alone.
Ow, my hands!
Here comes Joe.
Congrats to the new Raw Women's Champion, but that riptide wasn't connected with the full velocity that Rhea Ripley normally hits it with. It was almost entirely botched, actually. Oh, come on, we're almost at the end of the show with the main event literally coming up next. Why are we looking back at what happened at the start of the show? Especially when we're not getting an immediate follow-up to the Fiend and Randy Orton situation.
I've heard just about enough!
I agree with Bayley, but only because the hosts of WrestleMania are absolutely useless. Hell, the only cool hosts of WrestleMania were The Rock and The New Day, because they at least put on some memorable moments in their respective years. Also, more and more time wasted with Bayley because WWE sadly didn't have a place for her in any capacity despite her hard work throughout the pandemic.
Hit my pyro!
Pity Pyro. And there you have it. 2 nights of Bayley trying to get involved with WrestleMania in some capacity, and the climax to all of it is her getting thrown down the ramp by the Bella Twins, which of course has no impact to Bayley's next path.
WrestleMania Backlash.
Apparently just calling the next pay-per-view Backlash isn't enough to satisfy the WWE. They had to shoehorn WrestleMania into the name to make it sound cooler, when it really does not. The amount of times you see the Snickers logo is likely the amount of times Michael Cole is going to advertise it during the main event just like he did last night. Also, this is the most awkward main event to look at if you think about it. Roman Reigns is in the main event because he's the Universal Champion. Edge is in the main event because he won the Royal Rumble match from the #1 entry and outlasted 29 other wrestlers at once. Daniel Bryan is in the main event because he wouldn't stop crying like a disgraceful bitch about not getting his way and was added in out of pity and nothing more.
The pain that I have gone through.
I got instant chills from hearing Edge's promo. Everything about this was perfect. Here are 5 cents taken away for another legendary video package from one of the most legendary wrestlers of all time. The Daniel Bryan section of this video package somehow did not show a spoiled child throwing a public temper tantrum at the toy section in Walmart before moving on to Roman Reigns.
I took it from you.
The only way it'd be believable that Roman Reigns took Edge's career and title is if he was the one who actually did it. Not to mention, Roman has the Universal Championship, a lineage completely separate from the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So what exactly did Roman take from Edge?
Can he duplicate what he did 7 years ago?
Well, when you bring it up like that, obviously Daniel Bryan is not going to duplicate what went down at WrestleMania 30, mostly because the fans aren't pushing for him as much as they did in 2014. Now that is definitely the long-awaited WrestleMania return Edge has been looking for. Here's another 3 cents removed from the counter for that fantastic entrance and excitement. Fans worldwide could feel the emotion.
To regain a title he never lost.
You were doing great, Michael, up until you said regain a title he never lost. The Universal Championship debuted in 2016 and was never once held by Edge in any sort of capacity. It's not the same title! Honestly, this was the perfect night to debut Roman Reigns' new epic theme. We already got the Yes movement going wild, followed by the emotional entrance of Edge. If Roman's new theme debuted tonight, the mood would get instantly serious and intense. What a missed opportunity. Also, it takes nearly a full minute from the moment Roman's music hits to the moment he enters, making the fans wonder if he was going to pull what he did at Payback last year and wait until the last second before competing.
In recent history.
You got Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman slowly walking with intense focus and purpose. Meanwhile, Jey Uso is moving around like he just chugged 5 Red Bulls. Not gonna complain much about it, but was it too much to ask to bring in Tony Chimmel to be Edge's personal ring announcer just for this one match? The fans in attendance would have absolutely loved it. The CGI graphics seriously labeled this as the SmackDown Universal Championship? Oh great, now they're gonna look at Raw and call their main belt the WWE Raw Championship. Disgusting.
And your challengers, triple.
Well, he's dead. Reap.
Does not have.
It's one thing when Jey Uso gets involved with a match when Roman Reigns is in trouble, but getting involved when Roman's in complete control? I get that it's legal under no disqualification rules, but that still won't stop me from adding in 5 sins. Alright, I'll take a sin off for the comedy in this moment. Roman Reigns isn't just the head of his family's table, he's also the head of the commentator's table despite not even being a commentator. That was funny.
Jey Uso is wreaking havoc.
That one awkward moment when Jey Uso is wreaking more havoc in this match than all 3 of the actual competitors combined. You might as well add him to the match to make it a fatal 4-way, and it would look exactly as it does now. That other awkward moment when I'm removing another sin for attacks on Jey Uso instead of cool moments between the actual 3 competitors. What is this main event?
Daniel Bryan gonna send Edge flying.
Wow, what an awesome counter by Edge. Hurricane Rana turned into a sunset flip into the pinfall. Okay, maybe I am taking sins off for cool moments between the actual 3 competitors. I should really not speak too soon, am I right?
Edge with a baseball slide driving.
Sorry, but that was not a convincing sequence to make it look like Roman Reigns is kicked into the table by Edge. Stop promoting sneakers during the fucking main event all the damn time!
He did it in Fastlane.
Paul Heyman pretending like he can feel Roman's pain. Not exactly making this moment any more intense, just saying.
Edge may tap. Edge may tap.
Indeed, Edge may tap, but the powers of the Jinxin will successfully prevent Daniel Bryan from winning right here. About 2 minutes of Roman Reigns sitting around, standing around, walking around, and doing anything but compete.
It's a tug-of-war for the steel chair.
I just love how Edge awkwardly stared at the piece of the chair still in his hand after it got yanked away by Roman Reigns. He's like, the fuck just happened here? Copy, yes, infringement. 2 wrestlers lock in the same submission on their targeted opponent, causing confusion about what would happen next, cliche. What honestly sucks about this moment is Daniel Bryan got the full force of Edge's spear less than 15 seconds ago, and yet somehow he recovered from all of that just to pull the referee out of the ring and keep himself going. No selling moves is one thing, but no selling Edge's spear is criminal. Gotta love the sequence of Edge hitting both Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns back and forth with a chair. That's it, here's an additional 50 cents. Jey Uso has gotten himself involved with Roman's matches one time too many. The remainder of this match was tainted with his constant interference. Copy, Edge infringement. As much as the main event was tainted because of Jey Uso, the final moment where Roman Reigns pins both Edge and Daniel Bryan at the same time was a perfect way to conclude it. What many believe to be the end of Roman's long run as Universal Champion turned out to be the moment that solidifies Roman as the head of the table and the final boss of professional wrestling. So here are 30 sins off.